thought for the day. Everything is hard before it gets easy. Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina Aina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being. In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we discuss how to create a growth mindset. Have a listen.
People with the growth mindset believe that intelligence or skill in any field can be developed through effort. Basically, they believe that anyone can nurture their abilities in anything. The inverse of the growth mindset is the fixed mindset. People with this one believe that intelligence and skill are innate. It's something that we're born with. We're either born gifted or not. There's no room for change. Basically, they believe intelligence is fixed from birth. In this essay, we'll explore why the growth mindset is the better one and how we can develop it. So we talked a little about what the growth mindset is, the belief that intelligence and skill in any field can be developed. But let's also talk about what it's not. It's not magic. It won't help you get everything that you want out of life, and it won't make you the next Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. However, it is a very powerful lens with which to see the world, and it can improve the probability of your success. All of us are a mixture of both the growth and fixed mindsets. In some areas of our lives, we operate with the growth mindset. In others, we operate with the fixed mindset. Because of this, I want you to think of both mindsets like a pair of glasses. Some people wear the growth glasses more often and others wear the fixed glasses more. But we all wear both in different situations in our lives. Although we should all strive to wear the growth ones much more than we wear the fixed ones. But why? Well, a lot of research seems to suggest that people with the growth mindset are more successful than people with the fixed mindset. For example, a study found that students who held a growth mindset were 3 times more likely to score in the top 20% on the test, while students with a fixed mindset were 4 times more likely to score in the bottom 20%. Another study found that when 7th graders participated in a growth mindset program, they were able to avoid a drop in grades which usually occurs in middle school. People with the growth mindset are much more resilient, which allows them to overcome challenging and difficult situations. Because they prioritize learning over failure, they're unafraid to take risks. They prioritize growing over stagnation. On the other hand, people with the fixed mindset don't want to challenge themselves because they believe talent and intelligence are fixed. They look at failure as an assault on who they are as a person. To them, lack of knowledge is an indicator of stupidity, and failure once means failure always. A person with the growth mindset believes that they're always in a state of flux and transformation, so they don't attach their identity to the results. Instead, they focus on the process of growing and learning. Few people will deny that the growth mindset seems to map nicely onto reality. We know that the brain can continue to learn until the day we die, thanks to the field of neuroscience. It also seems quite intuitive that people must work hard and persevere despite obstacles to end up being successful. So, the growth mindset seems to be a much more accurate view of reality than the fixed mindset. People with the growth mindset are living in greater accordance with reality than people with the fixed mindset. They can make truer decisions, whereas a person with the fixed mindset lives in a greater state of delusion. What do I mean by this? Imagine 2 entrepreneurs. One has the growth mindset and one has the fixed mindset. They are both in the early stages of their entrepreneurial journey. Suddenly, they both encounter a roadblock and are forced to make a decision. The one with the fixed mindset sees the long and arduous journey ahead of her due to the roadblock. The journey is in the way of what matters to her, the result. She believes that entrepreneurship should come easy to those who are destined for it. She decides to quit. The one with the growth mindset sees the long and arduous journey ahead of her and smiles. The journey is the way for her. The journey is what matters. Taking the role of a student, she accepts the long and arduous path as her teacher. She will allow it to mold her into the person she needs to become to achieve the results she desires. She decides to persist. When we look at both of these examples, most of us would agree that the entrepreneur with the growth mindset has a greater understanding of reality. Her decision is truer. We know that things take time, effort, and strategy to achieve, but it's often difficult to put that kind of thinking into practice. So, how can we develop the growth mindset? The first key to developing a growth mindset is actually very simple. Understanding that it exists and that it's possible for the brain to change. Neuroscience has shown that our brains are not fixed and, in fact, they're very malleable. We can always grow and learn new skills. For example, a study found that taxicab drivers develop more gray matter in their brains to help them navigate more effectively in large cities. They also found that the amount of gray matter in their brains was correlated with the number of years that they had been working as a taxi driver. This suggests that the act of driving a taxi led to changes in their brains which allowed them to be more effective at their job. The second key is to focus on process over results. Dweck has said that we should praise others for their efforts and their process rather than praising them for their results. For example, it's better to say, "You studied very effectively for that test and your hard work really paid off," rather than, "You're so smart, you got an A." In the former example, we're focusing in on and praising the student's process, which is something that they can control. Hopefully, they'll learn to associate themselves and their results with that process. However, in the latter example, we praise the student for a result, which is ultimately out of their control. Unfortunately, this student will likely begin to associate themselves with the result. I think it's really important to emphasize that it's not easy to pass a growth mindset on to others. It's not as simple as telling someone that they're a hard worker and that they just need to put in the effort. They need to internalize that they can change their results by changing their process. So they need to know how to effectively create a process, alter it, and produce results from that process.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.